All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to Mindset Monday. I am your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody is doing well today on this beautiful Monday. As always, just turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. And as always, want to make sure we start our day off by taking massive action. And the action stands for accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome, centering yourself, body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading, trust in your education, strategy, trade skills, and intuition. Imagine your trade successfully materializing, obeying your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, and never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. All right. So if everybody can hear me okay, drop me one in the chat and we will get rocking. Appreciate it. Good people. So, today we're going to dive into talking more about the rewiring process, right, and creating this personal power. So today we're going to talk more about neurolinguistic programming, or NLP, right? So if you ever felt stuck in patterns of fear or doubt or hesitation, right, these steps are going to help us to move through those differently than we have before. All right. So as we experience this life, right? Well, as we go through this experience of life, right? It's Tony Robbins always says it's you don't experience life, you experience the life you focus on, right? You don't experience life, you experience the life you focus on. All right. It's not the events of our lives that shape us, but it's our beliefs as to what those events mean. So today we're going to dig more into how to control, how to take more control of our beliefs, right? And shift our emotional states immediately, right? And using language and psychology to step into our most powerful selves. So imagine two people, right, facing the exact same challenge, right, the exact same situation. One sees it as a disaster, and the other person sees it as an opportunity, right? What makes the difference, right? It's their mindset, it's their approach, right? Their perspective of the situation. Okay. Um, and so through neurolinguistic programming, we can shift the focus and change the way you describe the situation and how you condition your mind to see situations to look at it differently. Right. So that's the power of neurolinguistic programming. So where your focus goes, your energy flows. I've said it before. You've probably heard it elsewhere before, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about what it means, right? Think about a time when you were just completely stressed out. Maybe business wasn't going the way you wanted. Family relationships weren't relationshiping. They weren't doing it, right? The other person wasn't doing their part. The other person wasn't taking accountability. The other person wasn't doing their thing, and the relationship was not working, or just a situation um, at work that wasn't going the way you anticipated it, right? Maybe felt stuck, and it seemed part of that rut, or to fix the situation. What were you focused on in the moment? Most likely, you're focused on the things that were going wrong, all the reasons why it wouldn't work, right? All the ways that you would fail. So now let me ask you, when you were in that state, did you take any powerful action, right? Did you show up as your best self? Of course not, right? Because our focus and our language, right, and our physiology, our biochemistry all work to determine how we feel and how we act, right? And so that's what's called the triad of change. And that's what the triad of change is all about, right? It's the three elements that shape our emotional state. Ultimately, the result that we get in life. Right. And mastering this means we take control of how we feel in any moment, no matter what's happening around us. And it took me a while to really grasp this idea and how to put my mind in a space where at the end of the day, everything's going to work out how it's supposed to, and it's going to be okay. Right. And the people that are around me doing what they're in that space because that's where they are in this moment. And I'm going to love them regardless because they're not ready to change it. And I have to be okay with that. But I also have to continue moving in my direction. Right. So the first piece of this triad is focus. Right. What you focus on, you feel, whether it's real or not. What you focus on, you feel, whether it's real or not. What you focus on, you feel, whether it's real or not. Let me prove it to you. Everybody, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Imagine that in front of you is a juicy yellow lemon. A juicy yellow lemon. Now, I want you to, in your mind, I want you to pick it up. I want you to feel the texture. Feel what it feels like. I want you to bring it close to your nose. I want you to smell it. Breathe, take a deep breath of what that lemon smells like. Now, I want you to slice into that lemon and see as you break the skin, the juice squirts out a little bit into your hand. I want you to take that lemon slice, bring it close to your mouth. I want you to pause. Is your mouth starting to water? Right? If you're really focused, you'll probably feel that, right? Maybe even your face scrunched up a little bit, right? Right? But here's the thing, right? Obviously, there's no actual lemon in your hand. It was just what you focused on, right? So the power of what we put our attention on, that's the power of what we put our attention on. So if you focus on what's wrong, we'll feel overwhelmed, frustrated, stuck, distracted, all of those things. But if we focus on what's right, or what's possible, we can control we have control then over where our feeling goes, where our mind goes, where our attention goes, right? And we can focus on what we can do right now and we can feel empowered. we can shift that reticular activation system to look for the options, look for the opportunities, look for the ways to take action to change the situation. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. Right? What you focus on, you feel. The next piece of this triad is language. Is language. The words you use shape your reality. The words used to describe your experiences shape how you feel about them. Again, so in this triad, what you're doing is you're training your reticular activation system to look for certain things. You're telling it what's important by what you focus on, how you speak. How you speak is based on what you're focused on, right? So let's say two people had a long day, right? A long, long, exhausting day. One says, I'm so stressed out and overwhelmed. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. The other says, I'm feeling challenged, but I'm figuring it out. Exact same situation, two totally different emotions. One creates a sense of powerlessness, and the other creates a sense of growth and resilience. Last November, um, I do operations for a workforce management company, and we provided staff for when we put on Afrotech in Houston, Texas, right? And there were days that were long, 12, 13, 14-hour days, right? And you see people coming through the office that are just tired, dragging, right? And they don't have any energy. And they see me bouncing around, walking throughout the conference center, moving around, talking high energy. And they're like, Ryan, how are you not tired right now? It's all about the decision that I made, right? You're when I got up in the morning, I'm ready to go. I'm excited, right? I created the energy within myself to move through that day, not thinking about how long it was, but the opportunity to meet people, to create an experience for people that was going to be life-changing and memorable. So the secret is your brain takes everything literally. Your brain takes everything literally. If you say, I'm exhausted, I have no energy, guess what? Your body listens. Your body listens. And it changes based on what you told it that you wanted or what you told it was important. You literally have the ability to manufacture the feeling that you desire or the feeling that you deem to be important. But what if you said, I'm recharging, I'm energized, I'm finding my momentum? You'll actually start to feel differently, right? So the words that we speak have the power to program that reticular activation system by choosing the words. Because again, right, what's right, well, most people focus on what's wrong in the world, what's wrong in their lives, what's wrong in the situation. And they speak the words of what's wrong, but they never look at the The fact that what's right is always readily available also. What's wrong is always available, and so is what's right. And by choosing one or the other, you're training. You're training your mind, you're training your body, you're training your nervous system, right? And so you have the power to program your mind based on the right, choosing the what's right in the world to focus on, in the right words based on that experience. So as you go through this week, I want you to pay attention to the words that you're using, right? Are they keeping you stuck? Are they moving you forward? Okay. So, third piece of this triad is physiology, right? Your biochemistry, the chemicals that are moving in your body and how your body is actually sitting or standing, right? And for a long time, I didn't pay attention to this piece of it, right? I didn't pay attention to this piece of it, but your body, your posture, your breath, your movement controls how you feel more than anything else, right? You ever notice someone who you ever notice how someone looks when they're defeated? How do you think how do you think their posture is? Somebody talk to me. What do you think their posture looks like?
Droopy.
Slump.
Droopy, slump, head down.
Eyes rolled.
Yep. How was their tone of voice?
Like this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. Right. So the speech is slow,
Crackling. Yeah.
the tone, the low, right? The volume is low, right? What about their breathing? How are they breathing? Mm-hmm.
From
Right.
experience.
Right. They're exasperated, right? So shoulders down, slumped over. They're probably talking like this, right? So they literally carry themselves like they're losing, like they've lost. And because they do that, their brain gets the message and keeps them feeling that way, right? The brain gets the message and it releases the cortisol chemical and it keeps them down, right? But when someone is winning, how are they standing? When someone's excited about what they're doing, about their situation, about their current experience, how do they look? Shoulders back, chest up, probably breathing deeply in a more relaxed way, and they're moving with energy. The voice, the volume of their voice is probably high. They're probably talking with a little bit of pace, right? They send a different signal to their brain. And then it responds, creating the corresponding energy or power, right? Now, I want you to try this, right? I want you to hunch your shoulders over, right? Round your shoulders. I want you to take slow breaths. And I want you to say, I feel amazing. How does that feel? Does it match?
No.
It feels weird, right? Right? So now I want you to If you can, stand up, right? Stand up, right? Stand tall, roll your shoulders back. Take deep breaths, smile, and say, I feel amazing, right? It feels different. It feels different because your physiology controls the psychology, right? And so what we can do at any point throughout our day, we can change our physiology and start to change the chemicals that are released in our body, right? Anytime you feel off, change your body first. Stand up, move, take deep breaths, smile, right? It sounds simple, but it works, right? And so we can make these small changes as we go through our day to change the energy that we have to start to look at things differently. And then it's a trickle down effect, right? So the next piece about creating this this experience, we talked about the triad, right? You got your what you focus on, you got your language, you got your psychology, right? The next piece in neurolinguistic programming is reframing, right? Turning your obstacles into opportunities. Okay. And this is all about how we handle challenges in our life. And it goes back to using those three, right? So we all face these setbacks that we go through all of the time, all multiple times a day. Okay. Moments that feel like they could feel like failure, right? What people describe as failure. But what if I told you that the way you think about those moments defines whether you break or whether you get stronger, right? And so reframing is a skill of changing the meaning of the experience to make it empowering instead of defeating, right? Because again, right, you don't experience life, you experience the life you focus on, okay? And then you create the meaning for the things that you experience. And we create these meanings all of the time with everything that we do, right? So when you face obstacles, right, that feel like failure, the way you think about those moments will determine whether you break it or not, right? So think about a time when something went wrong in your life. You lost a business deal, you lost a trade, you lost a client, a relationship ended, right? A big opportunity slipped through your fingers. In that moment, what was the story you told yourself? Most people, it sounds like, I failed. I failed again, right? Shoulders down, head down, voice low. I failed again. I'm not good enough. Maybe it isn't for me, right? But the truth is, failure doesn't exist. Failure doesn't exist. Only feedback does. Only feedback does. Reframing is about taking control of the meaning you assign to each event, right? So instead of seeing it as failure, you see it as a lesson. Instead of defeat, you see it as growth.
Instead of this is the end, you see it as this is the beginning of something better. Right? An easy example of reframing comes from Thomas Edison, right? The man who they say invented the light bulb. And most people don't know this, but before he found success, he failed 10,000 times. 10,000 times trying to create a working light bulb. 10,000 times. Imagine if after his first, we'll just say 20 failures, he said, well, I guess this is a bad idea. This ain't gonna work. Maybe I should just scrap this and just walk away. Right? If he had done that, where would we be? Right? Instead, he reframed the failure. This is the story that they tell. He reframed the failure, part of the learning process. I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that this won't work. Right? The mindset kept him moving forward until he finally succeeded. But think about that for a second. Right? How would your life change if every time you faced an obstacle, you saw this one step closer to success instead of a reason to stop? How many things would you have completed by now? Where would you be? If you said, I'm going to learn from this and become better. I'm going to learn from this and become better. If Ben and I would have stopped, surely wouldn't have this community. Many reasons for us to wrap it up and go home. Many reasons for us to wrap it up and go home. But we didn't. We didn't. And because we didn't, we've been able to impact people in a massively powerful way. Right? As we've gone through things in the past year and a half, we could have wrapped it up and walked away. But we said, no, we have a bigger goal, a bigger vision, a bigger mission to accomplish. And this one thing isn't going to stop us from doing what we said we were going to do. So we learned. We learned a lot. Right? So on this journey, it's about the process. It's about the process. A learning process instead of a personal failure. Right? And with the reframing, you're able to change your energy about the situation. Able to change the energy in your body because now you're moving forward. You're moving toward the life that you desire. So now it's your turn. I want you to grab a pen. Right? Grab pen and paper, open your notes app. Think about a challenge you faced recently or you're currently facing. Something that's frustrating you, right? Made you doubt yourself or feel like a failure. I want you to write 3 empowering ways to reframe that situation. Number 1, what can I learn from this experience? What can I learn from this experience? Number two, how can this make me stronger or better in the future? How can this make me stronger or better in the future? And number three, what's a positive way to look at this that will help me move forward? What's a positive way for me to look at this that will help me move forward? Take a minute and answer those questions about your situation.
And Ryan,
Yes.
yeah, can you please repeat the questions if
Yes,
possible?
sir. Yep. What can
Thanks.
I learn from this experience? What can I learn from this experience? Second one, how can this make me stronger or better? In the future? How can this make me stronger or better in the future?
Thanks.
The third one, no problem. What's a positive way to look at this that will help me move forward? Give me 30 more seconds. Now look at what you wrote. How does this new perspective feel compared to the old one? How does it feel? Right? That's the shift. That's the shift. That's how you're able to take control of the perspective. Literally taking a step back and answering those questions about the situation starts the shift. Change your physiology, change your body, and ask yourself empowering questions. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can control what it means. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what it means. And what it means determines what you do next. Right? So the next time you hit a roadblock, remember this, reframe it and find the lesson. Reframe it, find the lesson, keep moving forward. Learn from it. One of my favorite quotes, one of my favorite quotes comes from Rafiki in The Lion King. Right? Simba's been gone for years. He's grown up. He's done his thing. And Rafiki finds Simba in the wilderness, and they're looking in the water, talking about him running away and his dad dying, and Rafiki hits him in his head. Bam! Simba's like, what did you do that for? It's in the past. Forget about it. Can't change the past, but you can learn from it, right? And so then he wants to swing, goes to swing at him again, and Simba ducks, right? You can run from it, or you can learn from it. Reframe it, find the lesson, and keep moving forward. All right, so this last piece. Right? So now we're going to dive into some techniques, right, that can help us to instantly shift the emotional state, right? And this is something that elite athletes, world-class performers, top entrepreneurs, they use to get into what they call a peak state whenever they need it. And it's called anchoring, right? It's called anchoring. And we're building this foundation, right? Because we're going to build on this, okay? What is anchoring? Have you ever heard a song that instantly brings back a memory, right? Maybe it was song played at high school prom, or your first big crush. You guys had this song that you guys rode to, right? Or a road trip anthem, right? Or maybe even a song that reminds you of a specific person, right? The moment you hear it, you transport back to that moment, that time, and you feel what you felt like in those moments, right? That's because your brain has anchored that song to a certain emotional state. Your brain has anchored that song to a certain emotional state, certain feeling. And guess what? You have the power to intentionally create the same effect to trigger confidence, to trigger emotion, to trigger focus on demand. Athletes do it all the time, right? Michael Jordan had a ritual. Well, you see a lot of basketball players, they have a ritual when they step to the free throw line. They bounce the ball a specific number of times. They spin the ball in their hand, right? Some wipe their right pants leg or left pants leg, right? My mentor, Tony Robbins, he has a full ritual that he does where he jumps on the trampoline, he claps his hands, and he goes, right? Serena Williams, she bounces the tennis ball a certain way before every serve, certain number of times. Why? Because they've anchored these moments to a powerful emotional state, a state of focus, a state of intention, right? So today we're gonna do this, we're gonna work on implementing the same thing, right? So why anchoring works? Your brain is constantly making connections between what you experience and how you feel, right? And if you constantly link a physical action to a strong emotional state, your brain will store that connection, right? Those neuronic connections that we talk about all the time, right? And so then anytime you repeat that action, you instantly bring back a powerful state, right? And you make that connection stronger, creating habits, right? Imagine having a go-to trigger for confidence or emotion or focus, something you can use right before a big meeting, a sales call, or any moment where you needed to bring out your best self, right? What would that feel like? You can clap your hands, you can touch a finger to create a feeling. So that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want you to think about a time when you truly felt unstoppable, like a moment where you were at your absolute best. The way you spoke, the way you carried yourself, right? Think about that, right? Maybe it was a presentation that you just killed, right? You landed a big deal, a major project at work, maybe something within your family that you just knocked out the park, won a competition, right? Or just had a day where you felt completely in control. Pick that moment. Now, now, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to fully relive that moment. Relive that moment. See it, feel it, smell it, hear it. Even taste it if there's food involved, right? See what you saw in that moment. Who was there? What was around you? Hear what you heard. What are the sounds? Are the birds chirping from the trees? Who are the people around you? What do their voices sound like? Right? Feel what you felt. That surge of confidence, that pride, the excitement of the moment. Let that feeling build inside of you, right? Fully reliving the moment. Let that feeling get stronger and stronger, more powerful. Now, as that feeling is building, squeeze your fist, tap your heart, right? Or press your thumb and your forefinger together. Pick a trigger for that feeling that you're feeling right now, right? This is your anchor. This is your anchor, right? You're locking this powerful emotion into your body, into your nervous system, right? Now I want you to repeat this. Every time that you need to, that you want to feel that powerful state, I want you to repeat that. Visualize the experience, that moment that you felt that way, get that feeling in your body, and I want you to repeat that trigger daily, multiple times a day, right? This is going to lock that feeling into your nervous system when you do that thing, just like that song for that emotional moment, right? So shake your body out. Shake your body out. Get into that powerful position, sitting position, right? Shoulders back, chest out, head up, right? Take a deep breath. Visualize that moment again. Visualize that moment again. What did it feel like? What did it sound like? What did you hear? Who was around? What was that feeling, that surge of confidence, that surge of pride, that surge of excitement? What does it feel like? Let that feeling build within you. Give you a trigger again. Moving forward, use this motion anytime you need a boost of confidence. This is going to anchor that into your nervous system. You repeat it, that habit's going to get stronger. But you have to do the work now with this, right? building that routine, that habit, that neurological change. Anytime you need a surge of confidence, remember that moment, fire your trigger. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some homework into the community that's going to bring this all together. I'm going to describe it here, but I'm going to put it into the community to bring it all together for us, right? From identifying, step one is going to be identifying a fear or limiting belief. Okay. The second piece is going to be reframing that situation, that limiting belief, right? 3, empowering meanings for it. And then we're going to shift the physiology, changing your body, right? Shaking out the tension, getting loose, feeling good, and then getting our power pose, shoulders back, chest up, right? And then declaring a new belief, using your words to declare a new belief. And then we're going to anchor it, right? Say the new belief with an action. Feel what that feeling is of that new belief, and then anchor it with an action that you'll repeat. That'll be a trigger for you to feel that way, right? This is how you take control of your emotional state at any time, anywhere, right? You don't have to wait for motivation because you won't be motivated all the time, but you can create it. You can create it on demand. So next time you feel fear creeping in, remember your trigger for power. Shift your focus, change the language to something empowering, adjust your physiology, reframe the situation, fire your anchor. 5 steps. Today we explored how focus, language, physiology shape your emotional states. Talked about how to reframe it, reframing the problems and turning them into opportunities, and how anchoring can really allow us to access a peak state of performance on demand. It's time to use them. Right? We've always talked about mentally and physically preparing ourselves. Here's the process to do it. Right? Your mind is your greatest asset, man. You are always in control. You are always in control. Tony Robbins always says, the only thing keeping you from getting what you want is the story that you keep telling yourself. So it's time to change the story. It's time to change the story. So every day this week, I want you to practice these techniques. I want that 5-step process. I want us to practice, and I want us to anchor at least one emotional state this week, right? Shift your focus, reframe a challenge, use the anchor to step into that confidence, to step into that emotional state, that focus, right? That's mindset learning, good people. Floor is open. Thoughts, feedback, questions.
What up, though?
What's the deal, Joy?
Chilling. So I remember hearing some of this when the last time I told you I was gonna I tried my vocabulary. I think I've done good. I think I only had, say try about 5 times, 4 times last year. But what you got me thinking of is when you speak about Tony Robbins, it makes me think about Eric Thomas. And in his book, I forgot which one. He said at some point in your life, motivation becomes something you don't need anymore. It's like motivation at this point, you done been motivated to a point to where it's not the motivation you need to do, it's the action that you have to put in place to get things done with no excuse. So at the old place, I used to sit with a treadmill in front of my desk. So when I'm on break, I can get up and, put some exercise in. Man, that thing sat in front of me and I gained weight. I ain't touch it. But now in the new place, it's out of my sight. And I remember saying I want to get to a point to where I was happy. And not to say I'm not happy now, but just I didn't let nothing bother me. And what I did was in that moment when something was wrong, I got on that treadmill. And so now I've been making that a habit for the last 50 days, I want to say. I had took a break and messed my count up, so I had to start over. So technically, I'm on a new 32 days, but I'm aiming to break my 60 days and then break to my 100 mark. And that's how I keep track of it, days in a row that I walk. But it just makes me think about how it's not the motivation that we seek. It's the, walking on that pathway to get there to finally relax is what we seeking. At least that's what I'm seeking.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, kudos to you, Joy, right? Of making that habit, making that decision. When I feel this way, I need to get up, right? Changing the physiology.
Yeah. Reverting the
do.
energy. Yeah, because I had to, like, I know they ain't talking to me. I know they ain't talking to me. What I'm going to do on this computer, Ryan?
I appreciate you, Joy, right? Well, kudos to you on that challenge, right? 50 some odd days, and now we're on another 100-day streak. I love it. I love it, right? And we have the power to do that in every area of our life. But like you said, it's about taking that action. It's about taking the action. Kudos, Joy. I love it. Any other thoughts, feedback, questions? Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so thanks for the session this morning. And while speaking, one of the things that I realized about me is the fact that my brain always run with the negative stuff.
Say that again, Jimmy.
And so my brain always runs with the negative stuff. For example, if I'm watching a television and I hear something negative on the news, my mind just runs with that negative thing. And so over time, by realizing that, I kind of discovered that the best way to deal with that thing is to selectively watch the television. And so I don't watch the television and I actually hate it. And so the only time I will personally watch the television is maybe watching Bloomberg when I have the time. And I think over time that has helped me a lot in adjusting my mind um, in the day. And also looking back to what you just shared today, it kind of goes on to confirm that wherever you focus your mind on, energy flows into, which basically affects your day. And I hope that that will help someone.
Appreciate that, man. And what you're doing, Jeremy, the focus is there, but you're also creating the environment for the things that you desire, right? So that's another step that we'll talk about later, but creating the environment that supports the life that you want to live. So you make it easy to create those new habits, right? To reinforce those habits. You create the environment that supports it. So now it's automatic because the environment says, do this. I love it, man. I love it. I love it. Create the environment, my people. That's what Jeremy's saying. Create the environment that supports where you desire to go. What are the thoughts we got? Questions? No? All right, look, listen. Action, 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 right? Choose your anchor, choose the emotional state, the thing you're going to reframe, pick the anchor, get into that physiological space, right? And create the anchor. The homework's going to be posted in the community. Good people, listen. Listen. Make today another building block in the foundation of the life that you desire. You can run from it or learn from it. We're back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the pre-New York session with my awesome partner, Mr. Ben Allen. You guys have a phenomenal Monday. Have a great week. We'll talk soon.